I don't think there may be racist. Just because I'm human, they don't want my help. It seems it doesn't really matter if your superpower's firing from the belt. I tried to join the Justice League, but Batman was a douche to me. And Black Canary wouldn't tell me hi. And Plastic Man just threw a middle finger that was 30 stories high. I got a message from the great Avengers.
Hello, welcome to End Now Comics, and everyone on this show is fired, and we're bringing in new people, and Warner Brothers is going to put in an external manager to make sure that we're doing our jobs. I'm Lou Gonzalez. Joining us, we got Double Johns, Ryan, and Connor. And to continue from like what we talked about last time with the bloodbath at DC, it's still going on.
Continues.
Yeah.
But hey, John Ridley's writing a Batman book, so there you go.
Speaking of Batman, they Warner Brothers is announcing a new Batman game tomorrow.
Well, wait.
Okay, so to rewind, to answer Silas' question, he's the guy who wrote 12 Years a Slave. He's writing a Batman miniseries.
Oh, wasn't there like rumors that like at one point he was supposed to take over for Batman?
I think so, and maybe this might
be like one of the rumor guys for like Batman 100.
It's possible. I'm looking right now, and yeah, he is due. Keep talking. It says he's going to have a massive impact on the story on the universe going forward. But keep talking about what.
That makes sense because if Snyder's taking a step back to work on his pocket universe that he's going to be making, which will probably spin out of Dark Knight's Metal, or what is it, Heavy Metal, it makes sense. And so like the big story this week was like, wasn't it like during an interview, Jim Lee basically dropped the bomb that he's no longer COO. He's just that title's removed. He's just like the publisher, and that they are doing two editors in chief.
Yeah, Mary Javins and Michael Wells, who were the head of like the young adults division.
Yeah, I believe that was Michelle.
Yeah. And I mean, like, you know, again, like we've talked about it like several times on the show where it's like, you know, there seemed to be a plan after Rebirth. There seemed to be a plan after the Button, and then Doomsday Clock happened, and then Heroes in Crisis happened, and then Jeff Johns left, DiDio left, or like Jeff Johns was demoted. I don't know if he's like still.
DiDio got dismissed.
Speaking of Jeff Johns, did you guys talk about the thing that Ray Fisher came out with last week, or did we not talk about that?
We did not, because I think that happened after we recorded.
Let's.
We should circle back to that.
We'll put a pin in that. But it's like the idea that's like post Doomsday Clock 2 years ago, like there was a pre Doomsday Clock, there was still a plan in place, but over the 2 years of Doomsday Clock, you know, I believe Jeff Johns is gone at DC, or is like not in the comics division of DC. Like I'm not.
No, I don't think he's in any sort of power position at DC Comics. Like, I think he's still in like the DC Warner Brothers like movie TV thing, but not as high as he was.
You know, like the DiDio's gone. The Plan 5G seems to be gone. There just seems to be like kind of like this weird, like rudderless, you know, organization right now where like now we have this corporate restructuring of Warner Brothers that's happening where it's like, okay, so like what is our comics division right now? Like who's running it? What's going on? What are we doing? And this just kind of seems to be like a big kind of like upheaval of like, you know, cleaning house.
Yeah, from like the non-creative side, I guess, like from the managerial side, because like basically every editor is like gone, I feel like.
I mean, like not all of them.
Not all of them, but like a lot of big ones.
Yeah, there were a couple that I'm pretty sad to see go. There's one in particular that kind of like seemed like the writing was on the wall in a lot of ways. But you know,
the Black Label guy,
not him. The guy who fired Gail Simone and like.
Oh well, that's not a sad one. Fuck that guy.
Well, yeah, like Mark Doyle leaving, I think, is a sad one. Like I don't have to list something, but I know there was a couple others. Who were editors I really liked.
Yeah. And one to a promotion in this way, which was running one of the better divisions, which was like the younger comics and all that stuff that we've been talking about, is now leaving. So maybe that says at first I was like, oh, maybe that says they're like really seeing how good that side of DC is doing. But then, like, yeah, you posted, like, you shared one of the books they're canceling is one of those, or I guess two of the younger books in Teen Titans and Young Justice.
But I feel like also that Teen Titans book has just been like the wrong team for that book for so long.
Oh, that book is bad, but yeah.
Like Adam Glass, like again, like, you know, you don't have to be like young to write a teen book, but like Adam Glass, who's like in his 50s, who has never written like teen heroes, to my knowledge, in his like professional writing life, does not seem to be like the guy that you want to hitch your wagon onto for a Teen Titans. And also, like, DC is like a company that like never ever capitalized on the comic side of Teen Titans and the success of Teen Titans as like a cartoon. And I'm not even talking like Teen Titans Go currently. I'm talking about even like when Teen Titans on Cartoon Network was big.
Oh, that or Young Justice show was big.
Yeah, and it's like they just never seem to really kind of care. And
well, to be fair with that Young Justice show, it was mainly because girls can't be buying toys.
And that's like the problem with like also just like comics in general. It's like,
yeah, well, like, that was like, well, I believe that was Dan DiDio kind of like people running things at that time.
But it's like also it's just like, well, we don't want like cartoons to dictate our comics because that's like what kids read. Like we do adult stuff, and it's like you look at like what was like the big book that kind of like was like the feather in the cap of like DC for the longest time. It's Identity Crisis, a book where like the heroes suck and there's a rape and there's a murder mystery that doesn't stack up, and that was like kind of like that was like the DC book for like the longest time.
And that was what during the era of I'm trying to remember, when is Identity Crisis? That's like early 2000s.
That's like 05.
Yeah, so that's like that's like right after like their giant animated universe ends, like around the same time.
And I mean, and Black Label is like the end game for like them as a publisher. It's like of course, like, and I'm not like shitting on Black Label, but like Black Label is entirely like what DC like wanted to like have their comics line be since like the inception or like since the release of Identity Crisis. Like Heroes in Crisis is essentially a Black Label book, but like, and it tries to touch on like these like really
adult concepts
and these deep meanings, but like it doesn't like they like so it's like, you know, again, like it's the big difference between like Doomsday Clock the comic and HBO the mini, where it's like you actually have like, you know, a creative team and a like a mission statement and everyone working together producing a TV show that's cohesive, that's on time.
I was gonna say it comes out the days that they say it's going to,
and it gets the accolades that like DC would dream about having. While Doomsday Clock like is 2 years in the making, like is directionless, fumbles at like almost like any kind of given point, and like totally shits the bed at the end. And well, like the follow up, like it's like what was the follow up to that book? Because it's like kind of nothing. Because like,
no, it's not. Snyder's playing with some of the toys, but like I think part of that, which I think is a big thing of like restructuring stuff, is I think because that's a book that it looks like there's no editor on. Because there's way too many issues and way too many issues where nothing fucking happens.
The editor on that book is Jeff Johns.
Yes. And I think that, which could be a positive coming out of this, is that like, oh, we have kind of new people. A lot of this old guard is gone. But then we have this weird thing that DC has where it's like, they've been pushing these pocket universes from these amazing creators out of, like, they're not in continuity. Because you have the White Knight universe that we're supposed to be getting from was it Sean Murphy? Snyder's doing his own thing. You have the Neil Gaiman Sandman universe.
You have Milestone Comics just got announced to return.
Yeah, which I think is a pocket universe. You have the Joe Hill thing that's part of the Black Label. That's like a separate thing. Like,
yeah,
there's no, and then even like solo things. Like you have Grant Morrison, who's like a huge name, doing a Green Lantern book. That's not connected to anything. It's its own separate book.
Yeah.
Like, it's not in continuity Green Lantern in any way.
And honestly, that book could have also just been continuity, and it just didn't matter because, like, kind of like nothing in continuity kind of matters.
No, it's Batman, Justice League, and Superman. That's it. Those 3 books. And Justice League is so fucking weird with like continuity now because like the post, like what was supposed to connect to Doomsday Clock, like now Doomsday Clock's not continuity, but then there's like things after that whole year of the villain, and then they jumped, and then they're like, oh, we're going to explain how everything gets back to normal, and they're like not really doing that in all of the books, and there's still stuff with Year of the Villain working out in some of the other books. The continuity is like so fucked.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's not to say like DC's like not doing good books right now. Like, Young Animal is still good. I like one of the podcasts I listen to has actually just been like really gushing about how great James Tynion's Batman is.
Oh yeah, the current Batman book is good.
Like Metal is supposedly like very good.
Oh, Metal is fucking rad as fuck. And there's like, and like there was a big tease in the most recent issue of like, holy shit, what does this mean? Because like Wonder Woman's actually the lead of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a big kind of thing between Superman and Batman that you're like, what the fuck does this mean? And there's some cool shit. Like Batman has the Black Lantern ring and is like leading an army of dead heroes in that book.
Are you talking about DC or
yeah, the Death Metal?
Death Metal.
Yeah, Jonah Hex is his number 2.
Awesome.
Yeah, and like I like Harley's in the book, and I like how she exists, where she's like there to like give like snide side remarks, and everything is like cool in that book. Like, but again, it's like it's in continuity, quote unquote, but it's also so out of it. And plus, like when we know at the end, like Snyder's already said, like he's leaving continuity to do his own pocket thing. So I don't know. Is anything else? I guess like Warner Bros. We still have DC fandom. There's what like the Suicide Squad game that they announced, and what's the other game?
There's apparently there's the new Batman game that's getting announced tomorrow. You'll probably get more details at Fandom. You have the Batman movie getting a panel, the Suicide Squad movie getting a panel, Snyder Cut's getting a panel.
Who's the Batman game? Like who's making that?
WB.
So the Arkham Origins people.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, Rocksteady's doing the Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Well, Arkham Origins was another studio.
Yeah, that was WB Games.
Arkham Origins was Warner Brothers Montreal.
Yeah. Montreal, actually, you don't put the T there.
And like there is some cool stuff. Oh, also DC Universe is that nail that's been that's been like closed is getting hammered in more because they officially said all of the shows are getting moved to HBO Max.
Yeah.
I'm looking up this Batman game, and evidently, like the rumor is it's a Court of Owls game.
That's been the rumor for a long time.
Game. That's been the rumors for a while.
I mean, I also remember like.
Well,
here's the thing. Like, I feel like there's always been like at least like 3 to 4 different Batman like titles that have been like rumored over the last like 5 years, and that was like one of them. Like the other one I heard was like a 80s style like Batman thing that like I never really bought.
I think like Warner Bros. Montreal was like last New Year's ish time put stuff on their building, like on one of the buildings in Montreal, and it was like the bat symbol, something else, and then what people figured out was like the Court of the Owl symbol.
Yeah, like I mean, like I
posted the picture of
like I mean, like I was just gonna say, like I hope it's good. Like I thought Arkham Origins was like a very bad game, like considering that game also was like after
Arkham
City. Yeah, it's like so clear that it's like half the budget, half the resources, and that's not the fault of the team. Like
there are some good things. Like story wise, I think that game is really good, and I think it does some really awesome things, and I think it has the best design of Bane. Like, and I understand, like they actually explain why we get this weird Bane in Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. So like there are things I like about Arkham Origins, so I'm not upset about that studio doing it, especially if they're getting a real budget this time.
I think like also like my excitement like it's like, hey, spoiler for Arkham City, a game that's like maybe like a decade old at point. But like I was like so very excited to see like a Batman game, like how like what is Batman without like the Joker as like a main antagonist like in that world. And Origins was just like, oh hey, here's like more Joker. And I'm like, cool, like I guess I'll just like kind of get like my Jokerless like Batman like kind of like dealing with the death of the Joker like on his own, like, you know, within the third Batman game. And the third Batman game came out and it was actually like bad, and the way they handled the Joker was bad, and
The way they handled Arkham Knight was bad.
Yeah.
Arkham Knight's a bad game.
Arkham Knight is baby's first Batman story. That's what it is.
The mystery of the Arkham Knight is very poor because it's
it's so obvious. That's when
within line 1 you know who it is, and it's
Yeah.
like it's actually like just very ridiculous, like how all the marketing for that game is like, who's the Arkham Knight, and it's like within one line it's like, oh, I obviously know it.
Also, like if you worked in the game, like selling games, like me and Ryan were at GameStop at the time, when you were there you got t-shirts and toys for Red Hood in store.
That sucks.
Yeah, which it was if you knew anything about Batman, it's like, well, obviously if he looks like Batman and has Batman things, it's probably Jason Todd, because he's the only Robin that hasn't been in any of the games at that point.
Yeah, but like also like the Batmobile parts suck in that game like a lot.
Okay,
Yeah, you know what? I'm coming to defense of this game because I played it like a year ago, and it actually still is very good. The tank scenes are 4 times throughout the game, and they're fine. They're passable.
No,
They're just
they could have patched them really at this point, but like I'm like when I played that like week 1, and like I thought the Batmobile parts were bad, and then like the treatment of like Barbara Gordon and especially like Poison Ivy in that game are just like so terrible. I just like could not believe it. Like I was just like it was just like the studio that made Arkham Asylum and Arkham City made this game. Like it's just like you just like, to me it just felt like a game that like on every single level was like rushed. Which is like,
it also felt like, as like a story wise, they didn't know where to go.
No, which is like
and
why
I think that's the problem.
Which is like why, like at the end of the day, it's like it's taken like Rocksteady like a long time to like announce Suicide Squad. But like, hey, like at the end of the day, like this studio like made 2 of the best superhero games like ever made, and regardless of like my like dissatisfaction with Arkham Knight, like given time and incubation and like let them kind of like tell the story that they want, like I think they could do like a really good like Suicide Squad thing.
Just as long as it's not like a games as a service, because from what I'm hearing, that Avengers beta is not doing so hot right now.
I enjoyed the beta.
Remember when that Avengers game was announced, and I was just like, I just like this game looks bad, and I could just like smell like all the bullshit.
Yeah, I played this weekend. I played the single player part of the beta, and it was fine. It's very pretty. Like, I don't know. It's fine. I don't get the online part.
The only thing that I saw that's going to be a big issue is, like, there's microtransactions, and there are some things that I want, because there's a Hulk skin where it's just him in a pimp suit, like Grey Hulk from, like, the...
Oh, Joe Fixit style?
With the hat. Yeah.
Isn't Spider-Man, like, a PlayStation exclusive character?
Yeah, there's some marketing stuff going on.
I'm fine with it.
He is, and I'm kind of like waiting for the other shoe to drop on like the Microsoft exclusive character.
They said they weren't going to do that because it was a Sony thing with Spider-Man.
Exclusively PlayStation.
That seems very weird that like that you would actually just like out of your way like have one.
Well, I think it's because Sony can. That's why.
That's 100% why they're doing it.
That's what it is.
No, because like
like it would have to be on Marvel, Disney.
They've come out and said that it was on Sony's side that they wanted to do this.
Yeah.
It would have to be on like the designers to like hold a character just for the Xbox version.
Because that's a Square Enix game, and that's like a Sony thing.
But here's the thing: like, does Sony own? Like, Sony owns the movie rights
and the game rights, I believe.
Yeah,
and I think that's like the big question at the end of the day. is does Sony also own like the game right?
I'm pretty sure they own pretty much
They own all distribution rights
all
of the character.
Yeah,
of
they own-
besides comic books. I think they basically own all of it because of that lawsuit.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
why
between
there
them
was
and
only
Fox.
Spider-Man on
I
PS4,
think
not like
now they have the
the one.
exclusive- with the exception of games like Marvel Ultimate Alliance and stuff like that. I think they have like some kind of exclusive game license.
The game Marvel Ultimate Alliance should have had the graphics of Marvel's Avengers, and it would have been an amazing.
Could you imagine like Marvel's
Ultimate
Ultimate
Alliance
Alliance like coming out?
Was
Like,
fun. I enjoyed it.
If they released Marvel's Ultimate Alliance for like all consoles, and they're like, oh yeah, like all the consoles are the same except for Spider-Man, like it's only on the Sony version. It's just like, what like weird gatekeeping that's like still being like, held within like.
Yeah,
like,
the only other thing I remember is didn't Soul Calibur do something, but like each system had a specific extra character.
One had Yoda, one had Darth Vader, and one had Link, and one had I think like Solid Snake.
Well, like, but and
No,
that's
before
why
that
I
it
was
was
like,
Spawn, Link, and Hahachi.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
for the original.
But it's like also Heihachi had only shown up on like PlayStation now, like consoles. Like Link had only shown up on Nintendo consoles. Like
Yeah, they were extra characters.
Spawn,
They
I
weren't
guess.
like
Spawn's
Spawn's always had like an Xbox thing because of like I don't know why.
He's green.
Green.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's green.
But it's like, hey, like this console got like this character. You don't feel cheated because you're getting this character instead. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why I was like, well, like I'll just kind of like wait to see like what the Xbox exclusive character is, and they're like, oh, well, there is none. Sony just has the better version of the game because they have all the characters. And if they have like Spider-Man, like, does that also mean that they get like Venom and
Yeah.
Gwen and all these other like Spider-Man?
I'm pretty sure that they have the rights to all the Spider characters.
Someone data mined the entire the Avengers game during the beta, and they found like 15 unannounced characters reportedly.
Yeah, and like how much are those characters?
Oh, they're probably
Hawkeye
they're
was
free.
free.
They've already announced that all the
Yeah,
upcoming characters are going to be free, but they're rotating characters, kind of like what they do in League of Legends, where you only have access to certain characters at certain times of the year, which is interesting.
So,
but you
Like, okay,
but if those
something. Like
but
they
like,
have,
those characters get rotated,
yeah,
but it's like if you want to still play them, like I assume they're going to be like $5.
yeah, probably.
They're
there
probably
have-
like a pass you buy.
heroes they listed to have like Ant-Man, Wasp, Vision, Black Panther, stuff you know from the series. Then they have like Marvel, Mockingbird, Quake, which to be honest, I'll be honest with Quake, if you don't get the actress from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to reprise her role in some kind of voice capacity, I'll be very upset.
They use her likeness for pretty much everything with that character now.
I was going to say all the Avengers characters look like porn parodies versions of
Mm.
the characters. So.
That's because they couldn't get the
fix,
rights.
They did
Yeah.
fix Widow's like appearance though, because when they first announced the Widow look, they like a lot. They fixed her up. She looks.
Yeah, I don't know. It was fine when I played it.
Next weekend, this weekend coming up. So I'll report back.
I'm
They
trying to
just
think.
ended for PlayStation yesterday. I was trying.
I'll be on PlayStation. So
Yeah, I only got to play the single player part, which was short and interesting.
I do enjoy Kamala Khan, like her character, and like she's very like fangirly about the Avengers, which I
Yeah,
gives me, like a young Peter Parker.
Yeah, it's like almost kind of like a shame that like Kamala is not like I don't know, man.
I think
feel
this
like
was
it's
their
a shame
attempt
that
to.
she's not the main focal point of like the advertising of this game.
I'm pretty sure they're setting her up as the lead character, though. But I think that's because they're
Yeah.
trying to get awareness of her. So when that movie comes out eventually, am not a fan.
TV show.
Yeah. Oh, it's a TV show. I'm not a fan of the Inhumans being like the story point of this. I don't even remember what it's called from the comics where like Kamala got turned, but that's the story.
It makes you wonder how long this game has been in development.
Oh, it's been in development for like 8 years.
Oh
or
yeah, no,
something?
they've been talking about it for like 6 years, I think. Eight
It's
years
it's
ago when they first announced it. At like
Yeah. It's not as bad as Final Fantasy VII, which has been talked about for like 25 years. We
Or
finally
Kingdom
got it.
Hearts 3.
Hey, Kingdom Hearts 3 is out. We're done. That meme is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We can stop now.
yeah, but that game.
To be fair,
Game
I've
was
played all of it and
so
will
short.
continue to play them.
Yeah, it's too.
As you should, Connor.
The thing with Final Fantasy is they only had released half of it, like 2/3 to go.
But it was so good.
God, it's so good.
And they added so much like character development
Filler?
and plot.
Oh yeah.
I still
Yeah.
haven't beat it, and I'm waiting until like the whatever Black Friday PlayStation sale or whatever, because I know it'll be on sale.
It already dropped to $40, I think.
Dog, I'll
It's on-
just lend you.
it's already
Okay, I'll
now for
DM you
20.
my account.
I will wait till it drops to $20, and then I will make my move.
It was, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. It looks fucking fantastic. And they do a shit ton of character development for all of the characters. And like actually getting to see characters emote. Like, I don't know, it does a lot to like kind of, I was like playing, I was like, oh, I forgot like these characters are here in the beginning because like I don't give a shit about them because they look like goofy polygons and like, yeah, you got to actually care about stuff. Was there any other news stories we did not get to?
I mean, I feel like earlier
Jason Eccles is going to The Boys 3. He's finished with Supernatural now.
Yeah, actually, that was announced today. He'll be in The Boys season 3.
Oh, are they finished filming season 2? Or I guess season 2 is coming out soon, right?
Season 2 comes out like next week
September.
or like half.
Yeah, doesn't Lucifer drop soon, doesn't it?
Lucifer drops this Friday.
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, this Friday. And
Actually,
Lucifer got announced for another season. So there's one after that.
we talked like also like a little bit about Teen Titans being canceled, but there were a lot of other cancellations. Harley Quinn, Batgirl, Red Hood Outlaw, Batman the Outsiders, Justice League Odyssey, and more have been previously been announced as canceled. But with the new November solicitations, they have also announced that Hawkman, Hellblazer, Teen Titans, Young Justice, and Suicide Squad, with Aquaman also ending in November on the cancellation.
The book I read very much, like Red Hood, Batman the Outsiders has been really good. Justice League Odyssey has been really cool.
And this is also like on top of DC Comics announcing that they'll be cutting publication from 20 to 25%.
Yeah, I think the whole Neil Gaiman thing is gone. Like the whole Sandman-verse is done. I'm pretty sure. Like, I think all of those books are gone because that Hellblazer was part of it. Because I think the Dreaming Hellblazer, Lucifer, and something else were canceled.
Yeah, I think they also just announced Toonie books being a part of that Sandman universe at one point.
It was like 6, I think.
I think there is also just again too many lines. Like like I don't know why like these Sandman books can't be in continuity. I don't know why these Young Animal books can't be in continuity.
Which is weird, is like because Snyder wrote him into Dark Knight's Metal.
Yeah,
so years in that.
I kind of also don't understand why John Constantine Hellblazer is a part of the Sandman universe.
Yeah, he's a different John Constantine than the John Constantine that's in Justice League Dark, I guess.
And so I'm looking at the cover for Hellblazer. It's the Sandman universe. So it's a part of the Sandman universe, but it's also a Black Label book. So is it part of the Black Label?
No, all of Sandman universe is Black Label.
So
it's the same thing as like the Joe Hill thing, where it's like DC Comics, DC Black Label, Neil Gaiman presents Sandman universe, Hellblazer.
Yeah, and I feel like there's just like a very big disconnect. Like if the Sandman universe launched as a Vertigo book, I think that book would have sold way better. Because like you already have taught your audience who are Sandman fans of like 30 years of comic reading that like Vertigo and Sandman are like one for one. If you wanted to have Vertigo be a part of the DCU at that point, like that's how you build a bridge from your Vertigo fans to DC. But like your Vertigo, like they're like working at a shop. There are customers who would only come in and buy something that had the Vertigo logo on it. Like there'll be like a book like The Mighty that should have been a Vertigo book, but for some reason was launched as a DC book that was very clearly a Vertigo book. And you'd try and get people to read that book who are Vertigo fans, but would not buy it because it was DC and they were like, yeah, like that's like superhero shit. I don't want to read it. But if it was Vertigo, they would have. Like,
yeah. And also like pretty much everything DC Black Label's out of continuity, which we talked about how fucked up continuity is anyway. But like
but I think like DC, like of the last 10 years, like very obvious with the death nail of Vertigo, like just did not understand or like did not even want that audience. But then it's like if they don't,
but that is the audience that they cater to, though.
It's like if they don't want the audience that like caters to Vertigo, that and you're not properly like weaning them onto the Sandman universe, you can't be mad that those people didn't who like buy copious amounts of Sandman books like did not buy this series. It's like to me, even as a reader, it just seems so obvious. Like there's just this massive disconnect within the higher ups at DC and like what their fans buy. Like I just don't get it. And so hopefully with this restructuring, like maybe it's a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah, it is interesting though looking at these books that are canceled that like, man, I guess I just never noticed like how insanely dominant like the Bat family is of DC books. Because like 7 of these are connected to Batman.
Yeah, and I mean like Harley Quinn will be relaunched.
Yeah.
And Batgirl will probably get relaunched, even though like again, like you can't like just keep on relaunching books and just
that's why I like say like
people will be coming back.
The ones that I'm sad about are Batman and the Outsiders and Justice League Odyssey, because Justice League Odyssey is Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern, Cyborg, Starfire, and Azrael as a team. And then has been interesting with those characters. And Batman and the Outsiders is the one I'm really upset about because it's Duke, I don't even know what the Signal or something, and Cassandra are like on that book, and Black Lightning with like, and Batman's like kind of in it. Like it says like Batman and the Outsiders, but he's like kind of a side character. Oh, and Katana. So it's Black Lightning, Katana, Signal, and Cassandra Cain. And currently like they added what's her name? Cassandra's mom is on the team now.
That's
I can't remember her name. She's a bad guy usually that works with Ra's al Ghul.
Talia. No.
No. Lady Shiva's on the team.
Yeah, and like, man, Justice League Odyssey was like kind of almost doomed from the beginning.
That's the one that's like weirdly tied into the Year of the Villain thing that's still going on. Like that is the plot point.
Isn't there a 3 Jokers crossover coming up too?
Yeah. Well, that's like leftovers though.
Yeah, the thing about Justice League Odyssey, because it was like launched as a Steven Sejic art drawn book, which I was like super excited for. But I don't know if it was like after the first issue or before the first issue came out. There was like some weird continuity problem with a character showing up that wasn't supposed to show up, and the book was delayed by like because Sejic had to like redraw panels to like get this character out of there that wasn't supposed to be there.
I don't even know who it could be, like unless it's somebody that they just don't use at all, because like the characters I said are in there. Darkseid is the major character.
Because Odyssey was supposed to launch around the same time as Snyder's Justice League, and there was like a third Justice League book.
It's the Justice League Dark, or is it?
Yeah.
Because they all tied into the Year of the Villain that was 2019, and Odyssey's the only one continuing with that plot because it was supposed to be what's going on with the New Gods during the period of like, and it has like one of the coolest aspects because what I really like is like they changed Jessica Cruz in a way that's like fucking crazy, which is her ring absorbed the Omega sanction, and so she has Omega energy in her ring.
She doesn't.
So it doesn't shoot. It doesn't shoot green.
Oh, sorry.
No, like her ring exploded, and then like because she died, but then it like absorbed the Omega sanction, and so she like doesn't have construct. She shoots like Omega beams out of her ring.
Yeah, like Darkseid like straight up like annihilates her, and she's like, "Do it." She just spits at him. He just like certain her ring explodes, like the fragments go inside of her body.
Yeah, and now the team is like crazy. It's like her, Blackfire, Orion, and like 2 other characters who are like new but built into the story. And like having Blackfire be like part of this and Orion be part of this like ragtag team is fucking awesome. Because Starfire's like badass crazy sister, which you never get to see in like any sort of heroic role.
Well, after she took over the planet, she just like kept to herself. because that was her whole thing. Like after like Darkseid took over like Cyborg, and then I ended up stopping reading. But like
well,
it was really good.
That whole book, I think it was like all three of the books we're supposed to deal with the shit that happened at the end of the previous Justice League saga, or Dark Knight's Metal, when they tore down the wall. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, and it's how Darkseid gets like depowered.
Yeah, and it's like, the Justice League decided to unshrink all the planets that Brainiac shrunk and just like put them in this sector. And it's like, you can't just fucking do that. And that's what this book is about. And so like when they were running around, it was interesting. It's like, there's all these like fucked up worlds that were like bottled up, and like what became of them. And Tamaran was one of them. I think we covered pretty much all of the news, right?
We pretty much did. The only thing we can do now is next week we can wait for DC Fandom. Like I'm actually suggesting, you know how you guys did the mini episode covering the bloodbath?
Yeah, that was like our before we watched Green Hornet like talk.
Before we watch Zorro, we should probably do a mini episode about.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, we get to talk about Fandom
because it's on Saturday, right?
It is. It's 24 hours only too, so it's one thing.
All right, so why don't we talk about what we read this week? And I would like to say, like, sadly, because of the topics like we're watching the movies for, like these are all Dynamite books, because that's who. It's not even own the rights, because they're all
public domain. That's who just
public domain. They're just the only ones that do anything with them, right?
Yeah, and it's like, listen, we know Dynamite's kind of trash right now because of all the shit going on, but unfortunately, this is the only way we can do this.
Yeah.
And this is a Dynamite Vertigo book collab. So it's a dead comic book thing with like a canceled comic book thing. So
hooray.
So we read the issue 1 of Dynamite Vertigo, Django Zorro, written by Quentin Tarantino and Matt Wagner, and then drawn by Estevez Paulos. Is that right?
Man, I was just so happy because Django Unchained is, I think, in my top 5 favorite Tarantino movies. I love that movie to pieces.
Excuse me, I believe the Django.
Thank you for the pronunciation.
They addressed that in this comic.
The D is
silent.
It's one of the best bits.
Who else was surprised that there were no feet drawn in this comic, like up close in a whole panel?
Because there's no women in this first issue.
That's very good point.
Yeah, there's no women.
Hey man, this is a 7-issue miniseries. We gotta pace ourselves here.
Yeah, so this is the only one officially written by Tarantino. Although before we started recording, me and Skylar were talking about how it's probably similar to Green Hornet, where he gave them an outline. So I do know from the things I read, the rest of the story is about them working their way to the self-proclaimed, I can't remember, it was like Emperor of Phoenix or something of Arizona, something with Arizona. Like, he's like the Emperor of Arizona or some shit.
He's like, yes, he's some like guy who's like in charge of like Phoenix.
Yeah.
Or the Arizona territory or wherever.
Yeah, wherever it is. But this book is basically our introduction to the characters and their introduction to each other. And I am guessing that Matt Wagner had to edit out lots of, I will say, like racial terms in this issue.
Yeah, I was also really surprised at how tame this first book was, considering Quentin Tarantino wrote it.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you it probably wasn't until they came to him and was like, you need to tone this down by like...
We're comics.
A lot.
Yeah, I mean, like, it only came up, like, maybe, like, 1 or 2 times where, like, I feel like there was, like, a point where they had to kind of, like, cut it off. But I think, like, for the most part, like, this is, like, a really kind of good... I read, like, my fair share of, like, Dynamite books. And just, like, kind of, like, it just never really clicking for me. But this was, like, the first Dynamite book where I read it, and I was like, man, I really want to read the next issue.
I think it's partly because of the 2 characters, and I think, and we'll see in the movie, I think Zorro, of all of the pulp characters, is like the one that is almost timeless because of like not nothing has changed, but like what he represents has not really changed that much.
Definitely hasn't.
which I love. Just to get into the story, so like we're just basically introed into like there's this carriage. It's drawn by 4 horses, 3 white and 1 black, which I did not notice before, and I don't know. I didn't actually tell at first until later, but is being driven by a Native American Indian man, and he's getting yelled at in Spanish from the coach, and he stops, and then we get obviously a black cowboy, which is Django, and he says that his horse died. Could they give him a ride? And then we get this cool little peek out through the window. It's like, oh man, I have to get used to speaking English. And he's just like, oh, like you can, like, sure, no problem. And it's like, he's like, oh,
So at this point, like, I actually have not remembered like a whole lot of lore about Zorro, and I just like kind of maybe just assumed too much that this man was like the main villain Zorro. And
so
then,
this,
and then there was going to be like this was like kind of like him going to Phoenix to kind of deal with like Django, or like someone like basically killing.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna fight, honestly, but that's not the case. I don't think.
And it's totally not the case. Like
no. So this Zorro is Don Diego de la Vega, who I'm pretty sure is who Anthony Hopkins plays in the movie we're going to watch.
Hopkins.
Yeah, so he's the original Zorro, who is like
also great name, by the way.
Yes, who
Don
is
Diego
like,
de la Vega, great name.
So he's like Spanish aristocrat, but he's like a very progressive, forward-thinking character.
Very foppish. I love him.
Yes, and he's just like foppish is like the perfect. Like he's a dandy. Like I don't know, like he's just very pristine and everything. Like you see, is like he has cucumber sandwiches and like a espresso with like tea and sugar in the back of this wagon, fancy wagon, he's riding across Arizona.
He's wearing like an ascot with like this baby blue overcoat with like gold trim. He looks good.
And he has the frilly undershirt. Yeah, it's like he is like pimp out, like he is mega pimp, and he's basically acts. He's like, and this is where I think that one of the times where I think the N word is edited out when it's Django's like, where he's like, oh, come in, my friend, and he's like, yeah, like Benvenuto's like, and Django's like, you don't mind riding with black folks? Like, oh, someone edited out an N word right there. And then
I actually don't think
that's not how Django talked in the movie. Like literally, as I'm reading the comic, I'm hearing Jamie Foxx, and that's kind of
this isn't the part where I think that he.
Oh, when the other people come in.
I think like when he's like black. Well, I say your skin color is more akin to a lovely Belgian chocolate. But I'm far more aggravated by the soil of your clothing than the shade of your hide. Like that's like that right there is like a total Tarantino line to me.
Oh, I was gonna say yeah, that is Tarantino, because what you get in this moment is everything you need to know about De La Vega. It's like, oh, he doesn't give a shit about people's skin color, and he's also the fanciest fucking person on the planet, and he's very witty. And so, like, oh, they're eating these. And I love that Django's eating the cucumber sandwich and drinking the coffee in, like, the next panel. He's just like, oh, I guess I might as well enjoy it. And he basically gives him this whole spiel about being a prospector. And this is where you're like, oh, again, like, De La Vega's, like, way smarter than, like, he's not I guess, like, in a lot of Westerns, you have, like, the rich guy coming into town who doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And he immediately points out that, like, Django's gun is worth more than what miners make in a month. He's like, oh, my indulgences. And then he says, like, I like your ponche. It's a French word. So
Panache.
Panache. Oh, okay.
Because there's like a whole thing in like Django about like the doctor being like, you know, panache, you know.
Okay. I have not seen the movie in forever.
Yeah.
And I've also never seen panache written out. So I did not know that that's what that was. And the only part I did not like was like when they hit the bump and he says "Ay caramba." I was I was like, like, do we have to go there?
I read that in like hey man, like I don't want
like Speedy Gonzalez voice.
I read that in a Bart Simpson voice.
Oh yeah. And this is where we learned the driver is Bernardo. I don't remember if he said his name earlier.
So wait, so is "Ay caramba" like a very kind of like old term?
I don't even know. Like, I feel like it's just like a jokey term for like, oh my god. I don't even know what it means. I'm gonna look it up right now. It means oh no.
Okay.
So I just feel like that's where I feel like it would have been better if he said like Madre de Dios, like Mother of God, like getting burnt by coffee. But like saying like oh no, because he's more like I do like that he cares more about like the stain than like the heat of it.
Like Dios Mio.
Yeah, and then so he's like, oh, like, and then that's like he figures out like, oh, something must have happened, and Django steps out, and yeah, I guess this is when there probably would been some racist terms because they use Injun.
Totally. This is the part where I was like, okay, like there's like some parts that are probably like rewritten to like make to be printed into a comic.
And I actually think in this instance it might actually take away from it that it's not used. Because I think Injun itself is too light of a term for these characters to say to the driver. And then Django, they go to open the door. Django blasts the first guy. This action is actually like very well choreographed. I think I think you get the geography very well, which I never remembered like being a big deal until we read Green Hornet, where like geography really matters in like drawings, and I feel like you get the action really well.
Yeah, he shoots a horse in the head.
And he's like sad about it. He's like, man, didn't mean to kill your horse. Like, and then just like point blank executes that dude.
I mean, like, hey man, like I don't know, man. It sucks to kill like an animal.
Yeah. It's interesting that it's not at all looking like Jamie Foxx. Like I
think it looks a little.
The profile a little, but like the head-on shot looks nothing like him.
All right, that's fair. Probably they couldn't get the rights to his likeness.
Oh, I'm sure they didn't. Like some of the shots.
I also just like kind of like wrote this off as just being like very typical Dynamite artwork.
Yes.
Speaking of Jamie Foxx, I do have something to reveal at the end when we finish talking about this comic. So. Yeah,
and if you wanted to talk about De La Vega's outfit, then we basically he's like, oh, like sorry, I kind of like Django's like, sorry, I kind of set you guys up. I saw you. I knew that they couldn't help but like do this. I'm trying to get them in. All the other brothers are killed. And like De La Vega steps out with like a pimp fucking cane, boots. He has a sash. Like he has a cape. Like
he's absolutely balling in this photo. From head to toe.
And I like
he's a pimp.
I will say there's a great line that Django has that's referenced to the movie where he just looks at him. He's like, "You really remind me of somebody I used to know," and it's a reference to Christoph Waltz's character.
Oh yeah, he says it like 3 times. I feel like
because it's like kind of easy to see.
It's funny because like I never like because I think it's like I remember like the Antonio Banderas movie, and that's like my real kind of like exposure to Zorro as a character. But like it's like old Zorro is like this, where he's like dressed well, not like a pimp, but like basically just like a like a dandy.
Like he's like very aristocrat.
Yeah, like it's like if this is like kind of like what like the whole like we'll get to it later, but the whole entire kind of like scene where like basically like you have like the group of guys that basically call him,
like, the second fight scene.
Yeah, they basically call him like everything except for like the actual like F word. And he's like kind of like standing there like very proud of the way he looks. I was like, yeah, man, I love this Zorro. Like I can get behind this guy.
Yeah. I do have to say, like, it's interesting. I didn't pick up like I don't think they ever say who the narrator is, but like it's somebody related. Because like one of the things I like is like when they're describing like Diego, it's like Diego was born to dance through the shadows like a fox in the night. Because Zorro means like sly fox.
Cool line. I'm sorry. What a cool line.
Yeah, because there's like I know there's always like a lot of references to like Volpe, but like Zorro means like sly fox. Like that's why he's called that. And I love how they were like, they make it so that he's just like, he absolutely is not phased, and he's like, oh, like whatever, but like I could use someone like you. Do you want to be my bodyguard? And they're just like, he's just like, oh, you don't care? And then he opens up his little like, I don't know, hatch in the carriage and chucks him a bag, and it's filled with gold, like little pieces of gold. And he's like, oh, like people use cash now. And he shows him, he's like, oh, weird, printed money, but what happens if it burns? It's like he's that rich where he doesn't deal with cash. And it's like, okay, like I'll dump. Yeah, and then we get like actually this is again like where like you have someone who's like a really good writer. One of my favorite parts of this issue is this coming conversation between Django and the mute Native American. Like you get so much information from this conversation, which is the Native American makes like 3 hand gestures, and it's so good.
Yeah, that's talk about a good exposition dump. Like, not only do we learn a lot about
exposition dump that doesn't like go like extremely.
It doesn't feel forced.
It doesn't feel too much either.
Like in case you're unfamiliar with the character, which a lot of people might be.
Yeah. So like and it's his name is Bernardo. So like Django goes and talks to him, and he's like, "Oh, so you don't speak, but you communicate. Like how long you've known each other for a time?" He's like, "Oh, like hand up means yes." It's like, "Oh, so like you seem like crazy rich guy tossing around his money just to have like more colored servants." Like he doesn't say colored servants, but it's like that's what's implied. And Bernardo says like does the no, and he's like, "Oh, so then why does he need a bodyguard?" And the bandits show up, and they're like, this is where they like start talking stuff. It's like, and then Django's like, "Oh, you're not a lot of help, and these border towns are rough." And then this is where we get them making fun, and he's in his second outfit, which he has I'm going to say it's gold. A gold umbrella.
Nice trim.
Yeah, a gold vest.
This was like the moment I was like, oh wait, no, like he's not a bad guy. Like in fact I was like, I love this look. Because it's like not raining, but he has a gold umbrella and he has
for the sun.
And he has a purple sash and purple ascot.
He's matching. He has a gold vest, gold trim jacket, blue jacket with a blue hat with a gold trim on that, with the purple sash and the purple neckerchief with the gold umbrella. Like he is.
I wish I could look this good before I die.
Yeah, like, he is couture. And I love how they're like, "Oh, look at this fancy peacock," and then he's like, "Oh, I wonder if it squawks." And he's like, "Guys,
this is the moment where I was like, oh, like there's like an obvious like I feel like Quentin Tarantino slur that would have like shown up in this scene that like did not."
Oh, like if they would have called like dropped the F,
hard F,
but I love like his things like, and I like to me I read this and like. What's weird is like my wife's been because of quarantine watching a lot of like for some reason Netflix has a lot of like Spanish dramas on it, and she's gotten really into it, and listening to like them with the Cantalone accent with like the lisp thing. I don't know how much you guys know about the lisp Spanish accent.
I'm Canadian.
Okay, so there's a specific accent in parts of Spain. It's like southwest, like towards Portugal. That has a lisp, like so it'd be like if it's kind of like it's a lisp. It's a talk like
honest to God lisp. Okay,
yes, but it's part of the accent, and it's actually like highfalutin to have that. Like you're educated if you have that.
Ooh,
it comes from one of the former kings of Spain. Supposedly had a lisp, and people loved him so much they were like, "That's the way we were supposed to talk." So when I'm reading this, I'm reading that, and he's like, and I love what he's like, "Oh, gentlemen, like, I'm willing to bet like none of you have seen an exotic bird." Like, I love it. It's like, and its peafowl are in fact decisively fierce species.
So like Zorro speaks like Dusty Rhodes.
Yes, like no, literally it would be Dusty Rhodes. Yes.
He's like, "Gentlemen, I'm willing to bet that none of you are particularly experienced with any type of exotic bird."
Yeah, less southern and more Spanish though, but yes.
Yeah. And it's like, oh man, like I love Dusty Rhodes. I also love Zorro now.
Yeah, and I love like Django puts his hand on his gun's sword, and like Bernardo's like just grabs his hand on the gun and like waves his like gives him the like old like NBA no. And it's like, "You serious?" And he's like, "All right." And then he just does like the side lean, and it's so good because they're like, "Oh, like it seems you're obviously that you all fall well acquainted with the tail end of a sheep." And it's just like, and they basically they start to fight, and he fucking like cracks the one guy in the nuts with his umbrella, and then cracks the other guy in the face with it. Which again, it's like because the three, I think it's like 3 guys, right? Like are so differently designed, you could kind of, again, I never noticed it until how bad it was in Green Hornet, like geography and comic book fight. So like
Oh,
he hits that
yeah.
one guy in the nuts, cracks the second guy, and the other one's coming from behind, and then takes his cane and cracks him in the shin, then the back of the head, so knocking him out. And then the first guy who he hit in the nuts, is who he slashes in the hand. And he's like, beware of antagonizing strangers, they may turn out to be peacocks. And I love that. And he's like, puts his sword back in his cane.
Such a good line. So
Yeah.
good.
Listen, I'm just gonna say right now, Don Diego de la Vega is one of the smoothest motherfuckers to ever grace anything.
Which I like. When we get to the movie, like, as weird as the whitewashing is in that movie, I think Anthony Hopkins fucking nails it from my memory. That suaveness.
See, I didn't even realize it was whitewashing because I was just like, he's so good, and I didn't realize you were like, oh, wait a minute.
Oh, that movie is like, besides Antonio Banderas, is the whitest movie ever. Because you don't realize it because of her complexion, but like Catherine Zeta-Jones is like Welsh, I think.
Oh my god, wait.
Is she really?
Yeah, she's in Spanish.
What?
Yeah.
How sure are you of that?
I am like 90% positive.
No,
I need to check that.
Is a Welsh actress.
You might have ruined my night. I just want to
Catherine Zeta-Jones is a Welsh actress born and raised in Swazia.
Wait, but Catherine Zeta, are you telling me that's not like Spanish? Zeta? I'm joking. I'm not joking.
This is leaning really far into something
Her
else.
father is Welsh and her mom is Irish.
Wow.
That's insane.
I did not.
Yeah, she just has that very dark complexion. Like, I never knew until like I was listening to something recently and they're talking about it. I was like, she has dark hair and she has dark eyes and like she looks very classically Spanish. Like she doesn't look too far different, like ethnically than like, except for maybe skin tone than like a Penelope Cruz.
I'll also like take that card where I'm just like, it's like you just assume with like the Catherine Zeta - Jones. I don't know, man. Like I kind of assumed Zeta was like a
Spanish name.
Like and I'm like more than willing to like take that like L like on this podcast to like.
I am also willing to take that L. I did not realize this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like we're not the only ones. Like on Google when I typed it in.
That was like kind of like her whole thing for like the longest time. Is like she was like kind of casted as like this like.
Yeah, she was the white. It was like she's weirdly the white lady who looks Hispanic, so then they cast her as the Hispanic girls. Which she's like and I will say this as somebody like I think the like Penelope Cruz is the better of like the actual Latin actresses from things I've watched compared to like a Selma Hayek. I think Selma Hayek's the better comedic actress. And like I think that like
she's pretty funny in Wild Wild West.
Oh, she's pretty funny in everything she does, but yeah.
And I will never hear any slander towards it.
I mean, like that's shitty. She's good in Dogma, man. Like Selma Hayek is great.
I love her in one of my favorite like bad good movies, and Here Comes the Boom, which is I
have not the Kevin James one. I haven't seen
the Kevin James MMA UFC movie
where he's like an MMA fighter.
Oh yeah, she's the school nurse.
She's also great in Desperado and From Dusk Till Dawn.
Which I do have this. We'll get to the
movies.
We'll get to it when we talk about the movie. But like the only reason Antonio Banderas is in a goddamn Zorro movie is because Robert Rodriguez was attached to it and cast him. Because the original casting
Robert Rodriguez was supposed to do Zorro.
That was good. That
movie was so fucking good.
Yeah, like, he's the one who signed Antonio Banderas because it's after Desperado.
Why did you like?
He was.
To spoil the Zorro podcast that we're going to be doing later, why did Antonio Banderas like drop out of doing Zorro?
Robert Rodriguez, he dropped out because of creative differences.
Yeah, that makes sense. Actually,
do you want to know who they wanted to originally cast as like to lead the leading man of their Zorro movie?
Oh my god, I could imagine like Brad Pitt or something.
I will give you a hint. He's someone somebody, you guys are not even close. So there is somebody, if you were going to cast Anthony Hopkins in a role, who else would you try to cast in a role?
Please tell me
Sean Connery.
Boom, nailed it, Ryan.
Oh my god. Nice.
Sean Connery as like young, a guy taking over the mantle of Zorro?
No, that was all changed when Robert Rodriguez came in. They originally wanted to do this Zorro, where he's like, quote, middle-aged 60-year-old man.
Oh,
jeez, that would have been terrible.
Connery.
it's like, but like at the end of the day, like I could also just old movie exec where they're like, yeah, like, you know, like I'm like 85, like and I grew up on Zorro. I want like a young Zorro who's like, you know, 45. That's young, right?
Yeah, and what we get is like one of the biggest actors of the time at the height of both his powers and his like sexiness. Like, we will talk about it, but this entire movie, when we talk about it, like Antonio Banderas is beyond gorgeous in it. Like it's like he starts off looking like Mandy Patinkin in Princess Bride, and he ends up looking like this picture I just sent.
I'm just gonna say right now, and I'm gonna call it. This is my number one when we rank these movies.
Oh, it's so goddamn good. This movie.
That's pre-gaming. You're not allowed.
So let's finish up this comic though. So like basically, De La Vega closes his sword and his cane, and Django's like, shit. Okay, so if you need me as a bodyguard, what the hell are you getting into? And he's like, well, I need to go to Phoenix because there's some stuff. And basically he's like, Django's like, what's in Phoenix? And he's like, it's the home base of a villain. Venial avarice is matched only by his merciless brutality. He rules the entire territory. Here it is. He's the Archduke of Arizona, is what the guy calls himself. And then we get the kind of, which I love, where it's kind of like so that's kind of like the end of the story, but we cut back to like the three goons, and it's like, the guy's like, my head is aching. It's like, man, let's go get a drink. And the other guy's like, my fucking hand. And like they look, and he has the Z carved into his palm.
So cool.
Yeah,
So goddamn cool.
The whole the whole line of like, my Phoenix, my dear Django, is the home base of the villain whose venial avarice is matched only by his merciless brutality. Like it's so good.
Now,
it's so
did you guys happen to look at, because obviously like Django's not in a costume, he's just like dressed as Django. Did you look at what their design for the Zorro, like Zorro's costume is?
I assume it's the cover costume.
It's he always wears the black with the hat, but the difference is he has a full fabric face mask.
Yeah.
Which is usually it's like more of a, like what we see in the movie where it's, I don't know what you would call it, like a skull mask where it covers the entire top of your head and then goes over the bridge of your nose with your eyes cut out. That's more the traditional Zorro mask, what we get in the movie. Where this like full face covering, I think, is like interesting and like leads the character to be much scarier, because then you can't see, literally none of his skin is showing. Like he's head to toe black in clothing. And I think this book is rad, and I'm going to read the rest of it.
Yeah, and I think like the cloth mask looks really cool.
I think what it does do is you can draw good movement in it.
Yeah, there's like actually like a mask wrestler I really love named Bandito, who kind of like has like the same kind of like luchador mask design, where it's like a bandit mask. I'll throw it into the Discord right now. But it's like a really kind of like unique look for like a luchador mask, or like a masked man mask, where it's like, you know, it's like you have like the robber like half mask, but like this is like a full covering thing. Yeah,
which like it's so, and again, like this is, I really like that style mask. And that's interesting that like I feel like in a entertainment venue of wrestling that uses masks a lot, I'm surprised more people haven't used it, but I love that style. I think that
Bandito is like the first person I've ever seen like kind of like wear a mask like this.
I think it adds like the movement of it. It's like you can't see any facial features, so, like you never know, like there's no emoting, but it also allows like kind of a movement when the person is moving. Although like I do love the design of the Zorro costume in the movie, and we'll talk about it, and like the entire plot of the movie is awesome, and we actually get 2 separate Zorro costumes. Because we get Antonio Banderas, and we actually get like, I believe, a flashback to Anthony Hopkins in it. And and I think we do get like very dandy like De La Vega, which I do think, and again, like this is a character who like if ever there was a time to do a fucking like a remake or redo a pulp character, how has nobody like how is there no news of somebody being like we should make a Zorro movie or a TV show right fucking now?
Yeah, I mean like I'm reading like you've already said that you kind of want to read more, and I was gonna say like this is also like kind of like the first time like reading a comic where we didn't read all of a run, and I wanted to actually read the rest of the run because I thought issue 1 was like so strong, and I think like Zorro is like one of those like because I mean Zorro like you know like correct me if I'm like wrong, and my interpretation of the character is flawed, but he's basically like Mexican Robin Hood.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And he is like you want to say like old character. The character is over 100 years old.
And like I think there's like always like Robin like I mean like Robin Hood movies like always don't do well because I feel like also like a lot of Robin Hood movies like do the very bare basic like dumb version of like what a Robin Hood mythos could possibly be in the year you know that comes out.
So sour. I'm interrupting.
But I think like Zorro is like a concept that like you can always kind of do in like a really cool way, like in any year it comes out. But it's like if you're willing to kind of like you know I don't know do like the socio-political things that also come with Zorro.
So
what were you gonna say, Scott?
Yeah, really quickly. There actually was an attempt to do a new Zorro movie for right now. Filmmaker Jonas Cuarón is I think I'm saying that right. It's Alfonso Cuarón's son is doing a reimagining of Zorro. Is the masked hero played by Gael Garcia Bernal, embarking on swashbuckling adventures, but this time in the near future.
No, fuck off. Like I want.
Zorro.
Then the other thing they were going to do. It's funny we mentioned this comic is that there was going to be an adaptation of this comic.
Whoa! I would have like laughed.
That would have been so. Because again, another thing of any time to do a movie, why would you not do like it's about like a Zorro comic being sent like prescient, like a Zorro Django movie would be so fucking prescient.
So here's what I have. In June 2019, Tarantino had picked Jared Carmichael to co-write a film adaptation based on the Django Zorro crossover comic book series. Tarantino and Jimmy Fox have both expressed interest in having Antonio Banderas reprise his role as Zorro in the film.
Oh my god!
Oh, dude, that would be so good. Like, and didn't
reprising his role as Django? So
didn't Antonio Banderas just do like a movie that is either should have gotten an Oscar nod or might get an Oscar nod? Yeah, I don't remember the time. Didn't he just have like a crazy Spanish movie that like is supposed to be fucking crazy good?
Yes, that was Pain and Glory that just came out.
Oh, and
he
like
nominated for a bunch of awards for like he got nominated for the Oscar recently.
So was there a reason why the Antonio Banderas, Jimmy Fox, Tarantino, Django Zorro movie like kind of fell apart?
Well, it doesn't say that it's fell apart, mind you. This is coming from June of 2019, so this is
so it might be like because like it's not like any of them are doing anything, and especially if it was like Tarantino running, or I would say like bring him back that we talked about, Robert Rodriguez.
Word of the project surfaced when the Sony hack happened.
I mean, like I pay. I mean, like, hey man, I might pay. I would probably pay more money to see Django Zorro movie directed by Quentin Tarantino or Robert Rodriguez over like the other Sony hack movie of the Men in Black and the 21 Jump Street movie.
I like both of them, but like I'm looking at Antonio Banderas' IMDb. He only has 3 projects in the like working on, and one of them is a sequel to like an action like Good Trash, like the Hitman's Bodyguard, the sequel to that, which is the Hitman's wife's bodyguard, and then he's apparently attached to the Uncharted movie.
Yes, I think he's the villain.
Which he's good, like perfect. Because I think like weirdly like he's somehow like an underrated actor.
I looked up Antonio Banderas for like I looked up Zorro news, and I guess like a week ago he tested positive. Antonio Banderas tested positive for coronavirus
on his 60th birthday.
Yeah, so
Jesus, he's 60.
He's 60.
Fuck.
Oh my god. Time like just ruins us all.
I think part of it is that like the second Zorro movie, the one we're not covering, was not good.
No.
And it did not do well. And I'm trying to think who the hell made these movies, the two Zorro movies.
Mark Hamill, the guy who did GoldenEye and Green Lantern.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who's like the companies that were like behind it.
Sony and Amblin, so Spielberg's company.
Oh, okay. Like, could you like? I just feel like of any time, like, because I was like, oh, if I was in a cast right now, I'd be like, oh, there's pretty two obvious like casts, like either Pedro Pascal or Diego Luna. I think either one. Personally, to me, Pedro Pascal, I like him more, and like seeing him in Narcos, I'm like, I feel like he could crush Zorro.
I mean, I could see it. I'm just trying to think of. I know this was I'll get a picture of him, but this was the guy they got to be Zorro in that futuristic bullshit.
That sounds like so not good name. Like anything with that future.
Zorro sounds just dumb. I agree with you.
Because like, if anything, like I could see like you can do a contemporary movie. It would be weird because like going back to like what Zorro's Batman.
Pretty much.
He's a rich guy who puts on a costume to go after villains at night and an alter ego.
Well, to the point that Bruce Wayne and his family were watching Zorro the night his parents were.
Yes. Like he's like, and especially like the Don Diego de la Vega version, it's like he's like university like educated, like he is super smart, super intelligent, but he's a man of the people. The only big difference is that like Zorro is much more has the Robin Hood aspect where Batman doesn't. Like Zorro is much more a man of the people, even though he is rich. Which is why I think when like we talk about the movies, like their like how they deal with the script is such a good idea to do. Like making a like new Zorro.
We need to make a new Zorro. We're gonna be like gushing over the movie next week.
Oh, it's so. I feel like it's gonna be gushing and silence because we just watch it because it's so fucking good.
I mean, I'll probably make comments, but I will be mainly gushing because
for sure.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, so I feel like we all pretty much like the comic. We would love to see it as a movie. I'm going to finish reading the comic. Is there anything we want to say before we close out?
I'm just gonna say right now, if I haven't made it clear already, I am very excited. I mean, I know it's Dynamite, but the comic is still delightful. It is just pure fun. I do want a movie of this, especially with Banderas and Fox back in the roles, and I am very, very excited for our movie.
As somebody who has been quiet for about 20 minutes now, that's because I've been actually reading the comic, and I kind of forgot we were doing a podcast. So it's actually good. I'm really into it, so I would suggest it if you've got the time.
Because people already brought up that it's good. You should read it. I also forgot to bring up that I also read a comic from this week that you also should read. It's Transformers, My Little Pony, Friendship in Disguise.
This up.
Ponies transform into robots, or vice versa?
No. So the comic is set in like the Ponyverse, where okay, so like, hey,
do they turn into
words I didn't know existed?
On a base level, who else here has seen My Little Pony?
I have seen an episode or two only because I love Tara Strong.
Okay, so there's a character named Queen Chrysalis who's all about transforming into other characters to pretend to be other characters, and that's like her subjects are all about that. So Queen Chrysalis is like trying to bring like these, like she's like has a summoning circle, and she's trying to bring like what she calls bring our magic to be will bring forth fellow changelings from other worlds. And there's like this huge fight on Cybertron between the Autobots and Decepticons, and everyone's transported except for Dinobot, and Dinobot's like, yeah, I'm ready to fight everyone. And Dinobot like looks around and everyone's gone. He's like, well, friends ditched Grimlock again. And so like the Autobots and the Decepticons like show up in Ponyville and like the rest of Equestria. Like Megatron shows up with Queen Chrysalis, and there's like a really good like interaction between the two where Queen Chrysalis is like, she sees Megatron, she's like, I'm always distracted by pretty sentiment princesses, but I appreciate you giving me a moment with my new friends to ask, what exactly are you and how could you be assistance to me? And Megatron's like, amusing, I was just asking you about the same thing. And there's like a really good moment where like Bumblebee and Optimus Prime are falling to Earth, and Optimus Prime is willing to like hit the ground first between Bumblebee, and Twilight Sparkle sees like this like great friendship of willing to sacrifice for the other, and she's like, well, like that won't be necessary. Like it's nice to hear that kind of like selfishness and kindness. It makes me think that you're not the kind of people that Chrysalis like wanted to summon in the first place. And like there's like some like really kind of cute scenes like in the very first half of this comic, but the second half is like where like Starscream is like ordering the denizens of Manhattan, which is like the the Manhattan version of like the My Little Pony universe, and like he like tries to get everyone to like make him like look like a king, because like Starscream is like a total shithead, and like Rarity is like trying to help out with all these other people, like trying to not get people like injured, and RC shows up and beats up Starscream, and RC and Rarity, who like Rarity is like actually like my favorite pony in the show next to Twilight, because I think Rarity has the best episodes. But there's like this really great scene between RC and Rarity, and they have like maybe about like 6 pages of like just like top tier fucking dialogue that's like so good. And I think this comic's like great. It's written by James Asmus, who I think is like really underrated. There was like a point like he was writing like X-23 for Marvel, same with Gambit. He wrote God, what's that duo hero for Valiant? There's like a buddy comedy book for Valiant that's like really good that James Asmus wrote. Like, sorry, I went off super off topic, but like
I was going to interrupt this like passionate rant with just like, but do they turn into robots?
Not yet, but it's like the idea that it's like the idea that like the friendship of the Autobots is like what spurns the friendship between the ponies of Ponyville, where it's like Optimus is like so like willing to sacrifice himself to protect Bumblebee, or like RC.
I'm looking at some of the things. It's like Optimus and Bumblebee are falling, but they're holding hands.
Yes, yes. And like RC, like without knowing any of the people within the town, is like willing to like protect the people within the town for against like people like she knows are like evil. And
I'm just looking at the scale in this is hilarious, because Optimus is holding or like what's the one pony's name? The Twilight Sprinkles? I don't know.
Twilight Sparkle?
Twilight Sparkle is in the palm of his hand, and then the evil one is standing on top of the Megatron tank.
Mm-hmm.
And the scale of this is like really funny, like that they're so tiny. I guess they're like the size of humans.
Ish. Well,
they might be smaller.
The ponies are the size of ponies, and the Autobots and the Decepticons are the size of giant robots.
Yeah, they're like, I feel like they're huge. I don't know, because like Bumblebee looks kind of tiny, but Optimus looks ginormous.
Well, I mean, Bumblebee was always like kind of tiny.
Because in like one of the first shots, Bumblebee like drives into Starscream, and he's slightly bigger than Starscream's head.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think like the first half of the comic is like a comic that's like, okay, like I'm like buying this because I like Transformers, I like My Little Pony. Like the comic is like kind of like funny enough, but then the second half of the book with RC and Rarity and their interactions, and like their like their devotion to friendship and protecting the people that they love is like oh, like this is good. This is actually like really good. And like makes it like I think like a comic like totally worth picking out. Like I again at the end of the day, it's like you have to like I feel like you have to like Transformers, and you really have to like My Little Pony, and that's that's the thing with like crossover comics at the end of the day.
Which I did like that the first like panel of it is like a pony guy shitting on a crossover comic.
Yes, exactly, and that's the kind of thing that also
Alright,
like
that's
James
funny.
Asmus would have written.
It's literally like the first line is like, see, this is why these nonsense crossover stories shouldn't ever happen. And he's reading Daring Do meets the Power Ponies.
Yeah,
which I'm guessing is like Scooby-Doo.
Well, so Daring Do is like Indiana Jones,
Oh,
and the Power Ponies are basically like the Avengers / Justice League.
okay.
I've watched like eight seasons of My Little Pony.
You're a brony?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, like I'm not the violent ones, but yeah,
Not the violent one.
Not the
it's like,
violent.
it's actually like kind of like really funny, like on a series that's like built upon like accepting others and friendship and bonding and understanding. It's like also like the amount of people who are just like gross and bad.
Yeah, well, fandoms are shitty. I think that's what we've learned in the last several years. Like the internet has allowed the worst parts of fandoms to have a voice. Did anybody else have anything? I had like one comic book I wanted to mention.
No, I haven't read anything this week.
So
I'm working on The Boys, but other than that, not really anything.
Oh, yeah, I'm working on Invisibles, but like that's not what I was going to talk about. I'm like 300 pages into that. The new X-Men books that came out last week were really good. We have our second sword that showed up, which was interesting, especially in the way and like the comedy way it shows up. The crossover book with whatever the big Marvel event was like Empire, was pretty funny because it's plant aliens fighting mutant zombies, like zombie mutants from Genosha.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's the second issue of that, and it ended with like basically the second issue starts with Magic summons all of the psychics from Krakoa to come and fight, and it's literally like every psychic character, like mutant character, fighting, and it's pretty interesting because they need to help psychically power Krakoa to fight back against the alien plants. But the one I want to talk about is like they have been doing a really good job with dealing with the death of Kate Pryde, and it kind of finally culminated, and I really, really dug how it wrapped up. And like the issue of her resurrection and such, and possibly the reason why she can't use the gates. Does anybody care about spoilers, or like I cannot spoil?
I mean, like I haven't read it yet, but you're more than welcome to. It's my fault, actually.
It's not really like a big spoiler. Basically, they figure out is that like it's because of her powers, and because like they're waiting for her to burst out of the eggs like everybody else. But what does Shadowcat never do? She doesn't break through things; she walks through them.
Mm-hmm.
So like she's not, because she's a blank slate, she's not using her powers. So then she just drowns inside the egg. So they like psychically control her. I think Emma does, and like forces her body to turn on her powers to phase her through the egg. And that's why she doesn't like she wasn't getting reborn, and probably why she can't use the gates. She has to like it's like part of her power set that is not working with it. It's not the conspiracy that we have been talking about.
I thought Kitty's like powers were always on. She just chooses not to like. I thought they were like she always phases through, not like the other way around.
Yeah, but the problem is like when it's the blank slate, like she's not. There's no mind functioning to do that.
I thought that was like it was an automatic thing. Not like she can like
They actually like, and in the Fantastic Four book, they've played with her power set in like an interesting way. Because has anybody finished the Fantastic Four book? The X.
No, I did not.
Oh,
right.
the X-Men Fantastic Four. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because they play with her power set there too, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting that no one's ever thought about that. Because if she can do the one thing, why wouldn't she be able to do the other?
Well, What, when she just like phases off the gravitational pull as she just like spins around the planet?
So instead of what the opposite of phasing through stuff is to like make herself more dense, and she basically becomes super heavy.
Like the Vision?
Yeah, kind of. Like, yeah, instead of being able to like, so she can phase through stuff and also like make herself more dense. Which I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like her powers should kind of work both ways. But yeah, I think we closed out. Everybody want to drop their plugs?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Question Connor and on Instagram at Maybe Connor, and support your local hockey game. Go sports.
What are sports?
That's the most Canadian thing I've ever heard him say. Go hockey, go sports.
Go hockey, yeah.
Hockey, go sports. Go.
It's not sorry. It's not sorry.
Sorry, hey buddy.
Sorry.
I don't know where you get that accent from. It's definitely not Canadian.
Sorry about that Batman game. It was them damn Frenchers. What I feel like there's got to be a Canadian slang for like French Canada.
Yeah, we call it Quebecois.
Goddamn.
I thought it was more Pepe Le Pew.
No, that's actually French. No, we have country French. It's a bit different.
All right.
Okay, next up, gonna go
one
to
of the Johns.
Come on.
I'll go. I am on Twitter, JamScout193, and I'm on Letterboxd, where I've been keeping track of all of our stuff and putting all of our links in one collective place for our podcasts, or our commentaries rather, and our movies we've been watching. So check that out.
You can find me at John JOHN or FN or Seiler SEILER, where I talk about comics and injustices are happening within the city I live, and funny memes, I guess. So
injustices, memes.
Yep.
Hey, you gotta balance out that life somehow, I guess.
And yeah, don't forget to check out all of the other shows. There's always stuff coming out, news shows, other movie shows, After Darks, 3 AM Files, all that stuff. Leave 5 stars, make a comment, tell friends, and yeah, we're all kind of in the Facebook group for the Phantom Zone, and hasn't been a lot of posting because there hasn't been like, I feel like news is weird where it's like nothing happens for 2 weeks, and then the Warner Brothers thing is like dominates everything for like a good week, and that's all anybody talks about.
And then this Saturday is going to be a hell of a day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they teased the new Space Jam jerseys today. LeBron had the new Space Jam jerseys on. It's like purple and orange. It's pretty interesting.
What? Hold on.
Not as good as the originals though.
Hey, quick question: which one of us is gonna bite the bullet and go see New Mutants in theaters next week?
Oh, I don't care if I die. I'll go. I'll take one for the team.
No, I don't think my theaters are open.
Mine are definitely not open.
AMC was doing the 15 cents day, like to show off like ticket prices from back in the old days, I guess. So they're doing 15 cents movies.
That's for old movies. I don't think it's for New Mutants.
That maybe because I have a theater around my about 30 minutes away to do all movies for $4.
I'll just say this: we were talking before. We have a lot of things planned for the commentaries. I'm just saying, if New Mutants drops in the middle of when we're doing one of these commentaries, we are dropping everything, and we are going to do that. I'm just saying right now, please.
Yeah. These Space Jam jerseys are atrocious.
Yeah, they're not
right now.
good.
I hate it.
I hate it. Yeah, so I guess that just about wraps us up.
I forgot to mention. Speaking of Jamie Foxx, that movie Power came out.
Project Power.
Project Power came out within the past 2 days. It's on my list and ready to go.
Yeah,
it looks really good.
I think I'm gonna double feature that and the Old Guard because I still haven't seen that yet.
I haven't seen Old Guard yet. I've actually been getting deep into. I know we're going over our plugs, but into reading webtoon stuff on the app and checking out these comics. It was I think the big one I read just wrapped up its season 2, which is Let's Play. But then I've been reading was it Wolf and Red Riding Hood and plus got a high school.
I have a couple webtoons links that I can show you. There's been some good ones.
Lord of Olympus is on my list. I just haven't gotten there yet.
I'm gonna quickly shout for the plug. Go watch Avatar and Korra on Netflix because they're both there and they're both fantastic.
Oh, it's so good. And people who tell you Korra is bad, don't listen to them. They're lying.
They're lying. They are liars. How dare they?
Show. They didn't get to the part where Henry Rollins was a fucking villain.
Oh god, it's so good.
All right, we'll catch you guys next time. Adios.
Hey, psst, I love you.
Hey, by the way, there's a Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Super Mario 64 mashup online on YouTube. Go check that out. That's my last plug. See y'all.
So I guess I'll join the critics of it.